Traci Connell Interiors.
And I am Botan Laszlo with MHM Living.
And we are sitting at the Kips Bay show house in our room, the Femme Fumoir, the Cigar Lounge.
I remember this was 8 weeks ago at this point,
Yes.
something like that, right?
Yeah.
And where the inspiration came from for you to pull something like this amazing piece together? Because, when I first saw the design, I was like, wow, some things I cared about and some things not so much. It's just my personal choice.
Exactly.
But I appreciated the vision that you had behind it because it has so many different and unique elements. So do you dream this up? You just wake up in the morning and come up with this amazing design? How does this work for you?
I feel like in our firm, we do a lot of lounges. We design a lot of lounges, relaxation spaces, and we often design them for our clients in the city in Dallas, but also a large amount of vacation homes. To me, it's providing a space of escape. And as far as the design inspiration, I live in the Turtle Creek area, and even in my own residence, it's highly traditional. There's beautiful hand-carved millwork. And I'm adding a dose of modern elements to that. And I thought, well, why can't we respect the architecture here of this building, bring a dose of modern back to it, inflex the old with the new? We have stone from the 1800s. We have stone that was quarried just literally last year from an old quarry from artistic tile. So it was that blend of the old and the new. And I think it really brought so much interest and personality to the space. So as designers, like you said, you see the beautiful rendering, but oftentimes you've got to see beneath that, and the technical portion of this is first and foremost in your mind for sure. I know we had some interesting, intricate details. What was the most challenging for you to build and execute in this space?
Challenging, it's layers and layers of details. And again, in a normal construction project, you have time to develop this. And this was one of those things that we had to come up in. An example is the edge details, right? Curved surfaces. Curved surfaces are always more challenging to build, right? And when you have limited time, that's always okay, how are we going to do this in the most efficient way? So we had to start thinking what are the things we can build perhaps offsite, so it's an assembly. And this is obviously the amount of trim work and detail work we have. You could only do so much offsite, right? So we had some elements designed that way. The stone wall, obviously that's a challenge on its own. And when you apply, or once we applied the trim detail on it, then it almost looks like it's part of it, now that it's done. We underestimated the time that it's going to take, right? But it turned out absolutely amazing. Another perfect example, I think it's a technical challenge that you just don't know what you're going to deal with is, we have this 300-year-old, carved sink out of a piece of marble, right? And we're trying to fit into this modern cabinets that there are soft closed doors, right? Full overlay soft closed doors. So those are the kind of things that you just don't know until you try, right? So we had to plan a certain way. We took dimensions of it and things like that. Again, a lot of the lighting here that had to be thought through. So this was designed intentionally in a specific way, as you know.
Yes.
And you said well, I want it to be just to glow. So we had to figure out how to install those lighting strips on each shelf individually, and they are toned in for that specific color temperature. So again, it's none of it is necessarily very difficult to do, but given the short time frame and trying to do all these things in the same time, and often things. So I know it's not a technical challenge; it's more of a project management challenge, but nevertheless is a challenge, and it's a very real element of putting one of these projects together at Kips Bay.
Well, and I found it so interesting because you never wanted to Band-Aid. You would take the ideas and you'd work through the technical, even though it wasn't the easiest thing, but your perfectionism matched mine, and it's hard to find.
So I know that it's now that it's done, and the decor and the cigar and the whiskey and everything, it completely changes the room, right?
Yeah.
So as now we're sitting here and I'm looking around and So what is there a favorite piece in this room? Like that, like, oh my gosh, this is like the moment for me.
It's just so interesting because first it was the millwork. I absolutely love the millwork in here. It's combining classic elements with new modern, yet I was just in New York City a couple of weeks ago, and I was just admiring the same type of architectural details that have been around for the longest time in stone.
Yeah.
And so it really, my favorite part, there are so many elements. The feature wall for the fireplace, the stone wall, the bar. This is super cool. The faux humidor, I have to say, along with this banquette, could be my favorite sitting spot with the Cremone bolts. Like, it really is sophisticated, and I might have to choose that combined with 300 cigars. What's your favorite element of this room?
One thing really surprised me, and I didn't have strong connection about it, is the mantle and the fireplace. Right. And just like, I'm not into like, the old beat up, right. Things like necessarily.
Antique, yeah.
But, and antiques, thank you, sorry. But really this fireplace and the combination of how it came about it, it's like, I know when they brought the piece in and we were both here and looked at it, and it's like, oh my gosh, like the colors but now having the whole thing together is something special about it to me.
And it just shows our different skill sets, where we can vision it on the front end and pass it off when it has to be installed and executed and all the technical challenges. So it is a winning combination, I have to say. So thank you for recognizing that.
No, absolutely.
I feel like this project is a true reflection of any other large renovation project that we do with our clients, because challenges are going to come up like they did almost on a daily basis here in the Cigar Lounge, where split decisions were made. And whether it's a tweak in the design, but what really helped our firm is the fact that you were here, you were hands-on, and you recommended solutions, and you were confident about those. So I felt good just saying yes, which avoided us running down at the last minute. So I feel like some of the heat was taken off just by the trust level that we have, because like I said, in any other project, things are going to happen. It's just a matter of how we handle them.
Yeah. Well, thank you for recognizing that, by the way, Traci. I know you and I have been in contact almost on a daily basis, and with your team as well. But really the challenges is, as you know, like everything looks so pretty on paper on a computer, right? and again, you didn't had a whole lot of time to really think the whole things through. So this was like, well, this is kind of what we are thinking. I remember first day we were standing here and just like this empty room, literally. And we were trying to come up with solutions, right? So some of those solutions got captured, put in design, and some of it we had to adjust as we were going forward. A lot of technical details, obviously, that we had to understand the sequencing of those details for it to pull it together.
Exactly. There was a lot of problem solving, from removing the grid ceiling to accommodating the air conditioned flow in here. So a lot of split second decisions, but we definitely pulled it off. So what did your day-to-day look like when putting all these beautiful details and puzzle pieces that we had created into action?
Well, number one, when you called, I first called my wife and I said, Kristen, you know what this is going to look like as far as, our relationship, our family dynamics for the next, few weeks. But you're right. So I get her blessing, and she understood, and she really knows that this is going to be more time involved.
Right.
And the funny thing is, it's, you and I often like text each other at like 7:30 in the morning, and we are both, happen to be here close to 8 o'clock.
Yes.
So like we would address things real time, and your team obviously, but as you mentioned, it's like we needed like an A-team.
Yeah.
All the people and all the tradespeople and the teams that we work with, they are exceptional at what they do. But this is kind of like asking to deliver above and beyond of what the norm is, what you are used to, and really the timelines, right? So like, don't drop the ball. The craftsmanship has to be there, but it has to be done in such a short time. So I think that was one of the biggest challenges.
Yeah, and I think in our industry, the relationship building that we do, it really, I mean, this is how we see that it came together because of those strong relationships and us relying on each other, I mean, for every single project that we do. So yeah, I think that was a huge component of it as well.
Absolutely, that's a very good point. Yes.